Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kristin and I'm here with another video. I do apologize for the delay in my videos. I hadn't posted in about a month, but I'm here to talk about something that has been on my heart, which is how I got my teaching certification. I feel like my journey will be able to help you'll be able to help somebody or whoever has been discouraged in obtaining their teaching certification. Well, I don't want to have this long drawn out story because I can be long-winded, so I'm just gonna kind of hit the highlights. I worked in retail for 11 and a half years, and that is where I thought my journey would take me, or that's where I actually thought my journey would be. I never thought I would be a teacher. I have 2 degrees. My bachelor's is in human resource management, and my master's is an MBA with a concentration in human resource management. So I honestly thought that would be the field that I would have a career in. And upon getting married and really thinking about my future, and I went through 2 store closings with the same company, I said that I started thinking about my future with my husband, potential children, and I said, I don't think that I would be able to move around having children and being married. I mean, I know people do it, I just didn't see it for myself. So when the last store closed right before I got married, I had decided, okay, since I'm getting unemployment, I'm just going to take a little bit of time off and kind of see where this goes. I had signed up for subbing, and while I was still working in retail, and because I thought it was an easy side gig, I thought, okay, this is a good second job that I can have. And y'all, those kids wore me out. Those kids, I wasn't ready. So I had thought, I'll never do this again. Well, I told you I was on unemployment, so I was coming to the end of it, and I said, you know what, I do need to go ahead and get a job, because a stipulation to be on unemployment is you have to apply for jobs. So that's what I did. I applied for every human resource job in my area, and y'all, I couldn't find one. Either it was something that didn't pay enough, or it was something that I needed so much experience in. I'm like, I haven't even been alive. I've had the degrees that they required, but I was like, I haven't even been alive long enough to have this many years of experience. So it was kind of like a lost cause. Well, that year, I had started receiving like automated calls from the school board and about subbing jobs, and I was like, I didn't know that I was still in the system. I mean, of course I knew I subbed, but I didn't realize that you stay in the system until you ready to get out, or if you've been inactive for a very long time. And I hadn't been inactive that long, so they were calling me. And I said, you know what? I need to go ahead and work. Need to get back to working. So I decided to give subbing another chance, and I had a new outlook. I said, you know what, I didn't really know what subbing was when I first started, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna try my hardest and just get this going. So y'all, I started subbing, at various places, elementary schools, high schools, and elementary school ended up calling me to do a long-term sub gig in 5th grade. So that's something that I did. I did 2 different 5th grade classes at that school, and I love that school. So I decided that would be the only school I subbed at, because I was comfortable with the teachers. I always had a job. I was comfortable with the principal, so I subbed there. Well, that next school year, I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. I like subbing. I like the flexibility of it. If I need a day off, I can take a day off, or I cannot be available. And when I do want to work, I can work. And I did a couple long-term sub gigs that year, and it was like, when I did sub, I was teaching these classes. They didn't leave me busy work because they knew that I would be able to handle teaching. Now, you know what? They did leave busy work, but they also left the lesson and said, if you feel comfortable teaching this lesson, go ahead and teach it. And I did. And towards the end of that school year, I would say probably in about, it might have been like March or April, I was like, if I'm going to be doing the work, why not go ahead and get paid for it? So I decided to start my journey to get my teaching certification. So I kind of started looking into my different alternatives. So the university that was in Lake Charles, I went and talked to the people in the education department, and I was like, so what are the different, options? And the lady told me you can either enroll in the alternative certification at the university. You can enroll in iTeach, which is I'm not sure all what states iTeach is in, but you can get your alternative certification fully online, or I could have gotten a master's in education. And I was like, honestly, what's the easiest way in my head? So I decided to go the iTeach route. And being that it was online, it was totally flexible. So I had to pass my praxis first. And how it works is they have a core praxis, a content praxis, and then once you get into the certification, there are other couple praxis tests that you have to take. Well, being that I had a master's degree, I could skip the core praxis. So honestly, I don't know of what it's about. And I think now when you're obtaining your teaching certification, they already waived that test, so you don't even have to worry about it, I don't think. But anyway, my journey was, I started with taking content, which for elementary, because I said I'll go ahead and do the elementary education because most of my experience was in upper elementary, which was like 4th and 5th grade. So I said I would do elementary education certification, which was 1st through 5th. And I took the praxis, and y'all, it whooped my butt. I thought it was gonna be easy. I was like, this is elementary work, how hard can it be? Y'all, it was hard. I only passed math. I did, and y'all, I took all 4 tests at the same time, which I would not recommend because I think that you should study. Now, if you're good at test taking, you're good at memorization, you're good at taking in, do it. But I would say focus on each subject because it's reading, math, science, and social studies. Focus on each subject so you can really take in the information. I didn't do that, and I only passed math. I think because I'm naturally good at math, yeah, I passed math the first time, and that was it. And I was devastated. But the job that the principal, at the school I was subbing, I talked to her, and she ended up giving me a chance and hiring me on in a SPED pre-K class. And I was like, well, being that I'm trying to go 1st through 5th, let me just see. So I took the job. And by the end of that summer, the class got dropped. So I had to start back subbing until I could find a different job. And I didn't want to leave that school, but I ended up getting hired on in a Head Start class, which is 3-year-olds. And y'all, that was a change. But when I say I loved it, I loved it. So all while getting this new job, I am 5 months pregnant with my first child. So all of this is happening. I still have 3 praxis that I need to take because I had, being that I was newly pregnant over the summer. I wasn't feeling good, had a death in the family. It was like a lot was going on, so I didn't take it, do my test as a priority. Well, I decided to go ahead and be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this practice taken so I can go ahead and move on to the next level, which is enroll in iTeach. And I took reading again. I passed it the second time, I was excited. Had science and social studies. Science and social studies is not subjects that I just never was great at in high school or elementary school, and those are just not my strong suits because I think I'm just not interested. And people have their subjects, and math was mine. So science and social studies kind of took the back seat for me. And I studied, and I took both of them again for a second time, and all while pregnant, and yeah, I didn't pass them. So I kind of started getting a little devastated, but I said, you know what, I'm not gonna give up because this is what I want to do right now. So I took them like when I was like 8 months pregnant. I said, you know what, I'll wait till I have my child and then I'll try to take them again. Well, I had my baby January 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020, COVID. So I had them scheduled, but then I had to reschedule them because COVID hit, and so many different. And I went up to the school to take I went up to the local university in Lake Charles, so I could take the test. So of course they weren't doing group meetings for a while. I think they finally start letting people take tests like in June. So I did both tests in June, and I passed them the third time. So after taking those tests, I was able to enroll in I Teach. So I teach. I started, and that next school year I had planned on teaching in the Head Start again, but I ended up finding out I had to do virtual. And I think I told y'all this in the last video, but I'm gonna say it again. Hurricane Laura hit, and my family was uprooted, and we had to move back home to Hammond. And I was kind of like, what am I supposed to do about my teaching certification? Because right now I don't have a job, and that's kind of like, it was a little scary for a second, because I'm like, do I just keep going? Like, what do I do? And so what I did was I applied in the parish at Tangipahoa Parish, and I ended up getting in to teach the 3rd grade ELA at the school I'm at now. And it's like, I go from teaching 3-year-olds to 9-year-olds, and this is a testing grade, so it's kind of like I'm gonna be real, I had no idea what I was doing. But it was like one of those things where I had to dig in the trenches, because even when I did long-term sub in 3rd grade wasn't a grade that I really focused on. So yeah, and I did not tell y'all that when I taught Head Start, I decided to change from elementary education to early childhood, which is pre-K to 3rd, because I love the babies. I did. They got my heart. And so I taught 3rd grade that year, and I finished I Teach. I did all my observations. We had to do them on Zoom because that was the first school year after, in the middle of COVID. It was kind of like they weren't coming in, so I had to do everything online. And I passed all my classes. I did all of that. And mind y'all, I was pregnant with my 2nd child during this time. And so I Teach. It was pretty easy. I finished in 1 year, which I was grateful about that, all my schoolwork. But then I had to take my praxis, which is called PLT. And a PLT is Principles of Learning and Teaching. And each, like, you have early childhood, you have elementary education, middle school, and I think high school. I had to take early childhood. Y'all missed the test by 1 point. 1 point. 1 point. That was disappointing. 1 point. And yeah, 1 point, y'all. And there was another test that I had to take. Now, I think that for those that are in education, you take a class, but being that I went the alternative route, I had to take it. It's called teaching reading, and that test is from you're learning about teaching reading from K to 12th grade. And yes, I was like, why do I have to learn about middle and high school when I'm not trying to teach them? But I said, you know what, I took it, didn't pass it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going into this next school year. I ended up passing the PLT. I can't remember when I took it. I think I took it that summer sometime, and I ended up passing it. So I had that one more test to take, which was teaching reading. Y'all, that test whooped my behind. And I found out that I could take, the classes via I Teach. But at the time I said, I'm going to try to pass this test. I took it again, failed it. Y'all, this 2nd time, failed it. And the teaching reading test is not cheap. It's $146 every test. So it got expensive. And I said, okay. I was like, am I not studying enough? Am I not studying the right materials? I studied again. Took it a 3rd time. Y'all failed it. I was like, I have never failed the test after the 3rd time. I said, because this next school year I was supposed to be teaching kindergarten. It ended up being on maternity leave. He had to hire a teacher instead of a long-term sub. So I was still a teacher at the school, but I floated. I was kind of like an interventionalist. I did interventions with first and second grade. But y'all, I was just a teacher sub. That's what I call myself, because when there wasn't a sub, I went in the class. And I did long terms. When a sub decided not to come back to teach the first grade class, I did the rest of that leave of absence. This other teacher went on leave of absence for second grade. I did that leave of absence. So it was kind of like, yeah, that was what I did. So which was fine. I was just grateful to have a job and still getting teacher pay. So I was excited about that. But y'all, I had this one test lingering. It was like, bruh. So I took it a fourth time, y'all. And I had got new study material. Y'all, I didn't pass it. Y'all, I was like, how am I taking this test 4 times and still ain't passed it? So, y'all, the fifth, I had asked the person that was over I teach. I said, you know what, just enroll me in these classes. I'ma just, cause I can't. It seems like I cannot pass this test. So I looked at the work. I said, my brain was like, you not like. I had 2 kids at home at this time. I'm trying to get my life together. And I just could not get my life together enough to take those 2 classes. I just couldn't, because it was so much work. And I had finished all my coursework, I would say, in June of 2021. And this is like in 2022. And I'm like, bruh, I just can't do it. So I said, all right, I'm going to take it again. I'm going to do this one more time, y'all. I prayed and I said, Lord, give me supernatural memory. Supernatural memory, because I'm studying. I studied, like my old partner teacher, she is in the middle of getting her certification. So she had so much study material, y'all. I studied every page. It was like over 100 pages. I studied, I read word, and I said, God, I prayed. I was studying while my kids were asleep. I studied. My husband took the kids, occupied them so I could study. It was like, whew. Yeah. So I went into taking this test, and at this point, the praxis allowed you to take the test at home. And I was taking my test at home. And y'all, something happened with my computer. And thank God my husband was home, because I was like, babe, I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. I'm late to start. Like, it was a freak out. He's like, just calm down. We're going to fix this. So I ended up being able to take this test. I took it in like April, because I took off work to take this test. And I think it was like in April, because the way those tests work, being that they had constructive responses, which is basically short answer questions, you didn't get your results back for a month, and I wanted my results back by May, so I can end that school year and start to get my certification process going, y'all. So when I tell you I took the test, and I was like, all right, God, I prayed and I'm believing that you gonna give me this supernatural memory. Y'all, I was so full of anxiety from the moment I took the test until I knew the results was gonna come out. And the day the results came out, something happened at work. It was like a misunderstanding, and I'm on the phone trying to figure it out. And I just say, let me check online. I look, and that thing said I passed. Y'all, I could have shouted. I was so happy. Y'all, I passed it the 5th time. So in all, it took me a total of 3 years to get my teaching certification. And most of that was just taking the test. Y'all. So I want y'all to know, for my friends that are trying to take the teacher certification, or who's trying to obtain your teacher certification, whether it be the alternative route or you getting a education degree, I want you to know that don't give up. Even when things get hard and you fail those tests. If you fail those tests, because you may not. You may pass every test the first time, and Glory be to God for that. But for my friends that are struggling with these tests, I just want to tell you, don't give up. And I'm sharing this because at first I was embarrassed. I'm not going to lie that I kept failing. But God was teaching me something, because I was telling my husband, I've never tried very, very hard and failed at anything. Like, whatever I put my all in, I succeeded most of it, like all the time when I was a kid. And anytime I did fail something, I knew I didn't put my 100% in. Y'all, the Lord was showing me something through this. And I had to trust him through this teaching process. Like, it may seem small, but I had to trust him. So I just want y'all, I gave that was the short version, y'all. This video still gonna be long, so I'm sorry. But I just want y'all to know, just don't give up on the process, regardless of if it's anything. It don't even have to be teaching certification. It could be anything. If you know the Lord has called you to do it, don't give up, y'all, because it'll be worth it in the end. And y'all, I am a certified teacher, and through the years, I was able to teach even without the certification. But it's just something about having that piece of paper that just makes it, that much better. And job security, I'll be able to get tenure, and if I stay in teaching, or if this is the full-fledged journey God has me on. I'm not sure if what's gonna happen, but teaching is what I like doing right now. So but anyway, y'all, just don't give up. If it's a dream of yours, don't give up. I don't care how hard it is, especially if God is gracing you through it. Don't give up. So until next time, y'all, I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, week, night, whatever time of the day y'all watching it. And if the Lord say the same, I will see you on my next video. Love y'all.